Hello. Well, I'm back again after missing a couple of weeks just because of busyness. Today I want to look at something around employment. I want to think about accessing employment, the availability of employment for people who are deaf. I'm actually based in the Northwest, and comparing this region to that of others, say that of London or the Southeast, finding work in the Southeast and the London area, especially when we think about the opportunities that are afforded to people who are deaf, it seems to be so much easier. There seems to be many more opportunities. And I think that tends to be because areas like London and the Southeast are much more diverse. There's much more of an open mindedness and accepting of people who are disabled or who are from a background of LGBTQ. And, and so access to employment is much easier. Employers there or organizations that are around the area are much more sympathetic to people from such backgrounds. Now, in the Northwest, I mean, this isn't just the Northwest, though this can be other areas around the country. Trying to find employment is actually quite difficult, and there are many barriers that we can face as deaf people. People are less open minded, and things feel much further behind. There's less openness to issues around gender, disability, which we see in London and the Southeast, but not that outside of those areas. And so that means that a lot of deaf and disabled people find themselves having to move to London, to the southeast, and because of the opportunities of work that are afforded to them there, and the barriers that they might face outside of those areas, and the difficulties that they face as a result. So we've got to think why we as deaf and disabled people have to face that. How can we break that barrier? How can we include people to see a greater degree of equality? So this is where, for deaf people, especially in the Northwest, but this does happen in other areas as well, they find it really hard to find employment. If it's a deaf organisation, then yes, there may be more of an opportunity for them to get work there. There may be less barriers, or a company that is catered for disabled people themselves, and so it is meaning that many deaf people are finding it very, very difficult just to get employment in your regular type of setup. Because I think employers genuinely feel that they're not sure if deaf people can be employed because of the communication barriers that they face. And I mean, this shouldn't happen. This is definitely an issue of education, of awareness, of allowing companies to just gain that realization that deaf people can do these types of jobs. Absolutely. The only thing they can't do is hear. And so there's the access to work scheme in place to cover the costs of interpreters. Those who are used to help with English modification, for translation, for voiceovers, for phone calls, for interpreting. That those those things are in place for deaf people to use in the workplace. So employers in the Northwest may be completely oblivious to the fact that those things exist to support deaf people in the workplace. But this is about breaking down barriers. And how do we do that? By working together, by supporting one another, by reaching out saying deaf people can work. So I'm hoping this information has been useful for you today. Okay, thank you for watching.